purpose of this video is to help you to figure out how to use your calculator, your TI-83 or 84, and I'm just going to call it a TI-84 from here on out. Whichever one you use, the button pushing is very similar. In order to calculate the measures of central tendency, I'm going to use a problem out of your textbook on page 47. This is a question where they gave us some data points and they asked us to make a box plot, and they also asked us to interpret the data. So we're going to do that. We're going to calculate the mean and the standard deviation. We're going to look at a histogram, and we're also going to look at a box plot and kind of talk about what this data means. You're going to be using the calculator very frequently in order to calculate the measure of central tendency. That would be the very first column. I'll walk you through entering your data on the TI-83-84 calculator. This is a list of the steps. It always varies according to what happens to be in your list or on your screen, or a number of different things. If you have any trouble with your calculator, just send me an email, and I'm pretty good at kind of figuring out what it is that you need to do. The second column is teaching you how to work with the plots on the TI-83-84 calculator. You'll notice the plot to the right. I did a box plot of the data for problem number 73, and I put a title on it, and I put the data points there at the bottom. So you'll be able to do this, and then what I did was I just attached my calculator to my computer and uploaded the screen and did a little bit of editing. If you're fairly savvy with the calculator, you probably won't need to watch the rest of the video, and all you need is just a list of the buttons that you need to push. That's why I listed them first. I'll be going through the different buttons at the very end, but as it is, I'm just going to kind of walk you through everything. So here they are. The first thing you're going to do in order to enter data into your calculator is you're going to turn it on. Then I need for you to hit the Stat button. After you've hit the Stat button, I'll need for you to, your cursor will be sitting on Edit, and what I need you to do next is just hit Enter, because that's what we're going to do in order to enter data. Now, I already had some data points in my list. Some of you might have data in there, and if you do, this is your sequence of steps. If you don't have data in your list, just go ahead and key the data points for problem number 73, so you can walk through this with me. In order to clear my data list, so I don't have to clear them all individually, what you do is you'll just move your cursor using the arrow keys that are on the upper right hand corner of your calculator. Use those arrow keys until you get to the point where you have your cursor in L1, just like I do right here. Once you have that, once you get your cursor in there, I need for you to hit the clear button and then use the arrow keys to pop you down into the first field, and then you can begin entering your data. Here's my list 1 after I've already keyed the data. Notice that in list 1 I'm set to enter in a data point for number 21, but I only have 20 data points, so 21 is as far as I need to go. I have my data in. Next thing I want to do is hit the Stat button again. And then I want to do a calculation, so I will scroll to the right, and my cursor will be sitting on one variable, statistics. Now your screen won't look like mine yet, but push Enter, and your screen will look a lot like mine. If you don't, if you have an older version of a calculator, you'll need to put the L1 in your field. And how you'll do this, or if you have a TI-84 and you don't have L1 sitting right there, how you'll do this is you'll hit the second button, which is either blue or yellow, according to what particular model you have, and then look at your number 1 key. See how on number 1 key you'll see L1? That's your list 1. So we've already hit second, and then I hit that 1 key to pop L1 into my list. Frequency has to do with if I have a lot of data points that kind of are multiples, like a lot of, say I happen to have a lot of 1.06s and I didn't want to enter in all those 1.06s. I could just key the 1.06, and then in list 2 to the right I could have put however many 1.06s there were. I didn't do that because I only had 20 data points anyway. Now I'll push enter again so that my calculator will do my calculations for my measure of central tendency. The very first entry here is for x bar. That's our mean of our data points. The second entry is the sum of all of your x's. That's what that sigma represents, the sum of all of your x's, and there would be that total. The next entry is the sum of all of your x's squared. So this is what the calculator does, is square each of those x's and then adds them up. The next two entries are your standard deviations. One is for sample, that would be the first one, and the next one is for population. We would want for our data to have this sample because this is 20 data points and it is not from a population. Population problems will tell you that it's from a population, and you will know to get this sigma x for your standard deviation. N equals 20 means the total number of data points. The minimum value of x is listed, and then it gives you your quartiles for your box plots. So I have my listing for quartile 1, the median, quartile 3, and the maximum value of x. And these quartiles correspond to your line values on your box plots. Now let's say that I wanted to do a plot. How you get to this screen is you will hit your second key and then hit stat plot, which is right underneath your screen on your calculator on the left hand side, or on the y equals button. So hit second and stat plot. You will have to tell it which plot you want to work with. I just chose plot 1, that's why you see plot 1 highlighted there. Hit enter, and then you will need to turn your plot on and then choose the type of graph you wish to display. Now I chose a histogram for this first one, and then of course you also saw my box plot already. So you can do several different types of graphs on one set of data points. So next you will see my histogram, and this is what the calculator will look like. It won't be all fancied up with the different x values listed, and it won't have the title listed there. What you'll have to do if you wanted to use your calculator is you would have to upload your screen to your computer, which is easy to do just using the TI plugin, just as I've done. I take a little screenshot and then I save it as a BMP file, and it will pop it into a paint package, and afterwards you'll get something that looks like this, and you can see that what I've done is I have just edited it just a little bit to put some values on there. I wanted you to see the paint package. I'm going to move it up now. And you see how this is just a regular paint package. I used text to put in my values and tried to space it nicely, and then put the title down there at the bottom just by putting in text. And putting it all together with our buttons that I need to push, and then my little graph. You can just save a copy of your graph. I use a program called Snagit, and I just snagged it and put it in to this drawing package that I have here, so that you guys could see the whole thing put together. You can probably do much better graphs in Excel, but this is a nice little graph just from the calculator, and just took me just a couple of minutes to plug in the data and then upload it to my computer and then do a little editing, and there's this cute little graph. Email me with any questions that you might have, or if you're having trouble with your calculator, just let me know. We could set up a collaborate session and I could see what buttons you're pushing and what's going wrong or right with your calculator.